Welcome to your daily dose of theological German. We're still working our way through this article, Where Does God Dwell? And I should say, we won't be working through this forever. I think when I get to the end of the introduction for this article, we'll probably move on to an excerpt from a different article because we don't want to spend our entire life just worrying about 1 Kings 8. So if you have any suggestions for other authors or articles or excerpts of things you would find helpful to see them gone through sentence by sentence with some translation help, in this kind of format, please do put a comment on the videos at any time. Suggestions, feedback, everything like that. It's all very much welcomed. So let's go ahead and start translating this sentence. So 1 Kings 8 as Textgebäude. This is an interesting word. It's a compound word, obviously, the first half being text. That's easily enough separated. Gebäude is going to mean something like building or structure, edifice, framework. This is a great example, though, of where your dictionary isn't really going to help you because you can't just translate this literally as text building. That obviously doesn't make sense in any English context that I'm aware of, although I'm sure someone could invent one. But you're obviously not going to say text building, and so you can't use any of those words, and so you got to do something more conceptual, and in order to do it right, you have to know what area of scholarship am I reading about, what's the topic here, what are the kinds of things we talk about, and then you want to think about what is the English terminology that we use to communicate those ideas, and make sure you're doing a good translation in English that uses the correct terminology for the particular sort of discourse that you are involved in with whatever the article is that you happen to be reading. So to do that, we need to kind of look at the rest of the sentence first to see what it's actually saying about this Textgebäude, and then we will be able to make a good sense, I think, of how to translate Textgebäude. So let's work on the rest of the sentence first. So here's your verb. It's weisen. But actually it's aufweisen, because you see here that you have the separable prefix which comes at the end of the clause. This is a case where it's very important to recognize that this is a separable prefix and that you want to look up the verb aufweisen, which means to show or to give evidence of or something like that. And the reason why that's important is because you can also just use the verb weisen by itself with auf as a preposition. Now, this wouldn't be the case here if you understand the syntax. Having the preposition way at the end of the clause like that is a sure tell sign that it's a separable verb. And so if it was a preposition, it would probably be somewhere else in the sentence. But if you somehow didn't clue into that syntax and you got confused and thought this was a preposition just removed somehow in the word order, and you took it that way, you would end up translating this with the rest of this, which says many signs or traces, marks of editing. You would end up saying something like it refers to many traces of editing, which would be totally incorrect. So you need to pay attention to the syntax, see that it's at the end, look it up as a separable verb, aufweisen, that it shows. And so 1 Kings 8 as a Textgebäude shows many signs or traces of editing. And so now you can think in the context of what it is that this article is talking about, that Gebäude is talking about something that is built or constructed. And so what you could say is as a constructed text, or it's often the right terminology in English to say as a composite text. So you would say 1 Kings 8 as a composite text shows many signs of editing.